So a very good morning to everybody again, and welcome along to our Business Spotlight interviews. My name's Ron Maycock. I'm the owner of Action Coach Castleford and also of Business Performance UK. And I'm delighted this morning to be joined by Darren Hunter, who is founder and managing director of D7 Recruitment. Very good morning to you, Darren.
Good morning, Ron.
Well, it's great that you're joining us and going to be sharing your story. So just for the benefit of everyone, just to explain the purpose of these interviews, we're surrounded by some brilliant businesses in our region. They've each on their own journeys and they've each got their own stories to tell. So these interviews help us showcase their achievements, increase awareness of what they actually do. And it's all done in the name of abundance. It's all there to get the name out there so other people can find out that these businesses actually exist. So we'll go into towards the end. We'll explain a little bit more about if you want to do the same, then that's the sort of route that you need to follow. But without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Darren. Darren, tell me a little bit more about D7 Recruitment.
So D7 Recruitment was founded 2 years ago by myself. I was very fortunate, having spent 23 years in the armed forces and gotten out. I went into a close family, friends, health and safety and construction business. And it became apparent early on within my employment there that they had some recruitment issues, and there was a gap in the market for a ethical, client-focused recruitment solution within health and safety and construction. So because of that, D7 was then looked at over a short period of time, pulled together and then formed. In effect, what we had was we had a client on day one with a need. So we got off to a very, very positive start, which then gave us the ability then to get our footprint into the market, learn, understand, and then go to the wider organisation. Now we're providing health and safety professionals into construction, manufacturing, aviation, civil engineering, predominantly in Yorkshire, also into Central Europe also. So quite a steep learning curve and progression over the last 2 years.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you said that you came through the forces. Were you involved with health and safety within the forces, or just generally organising, or just being in the forces?
Absolutely not. So zero recruitment background and zero background within health and safety. But, got decent mentors, hired really, really well, had the vision, learned from organisations that I was close to, spoke to the directors of the company where I was working and did a big gap analysis on where their issues lay within recruitment, what they liked and disliked about recruitment companies. And the first thing we built was our ethos and our understanding of where D7 wanted to go. And then once we understood the industry and the pain points within the clients that we'd be facing, then from there, that's when the D7 brand kind of came into its own. And then from that point, we then went into, how are we going to recruit and the processes of recruitment and business and management. But I think the most important thing for us to do was understand our clients and understand their pains and then take that forward and then hire really well to make sure that I had a strong team around me. And then 2 years in, now, I very much understand the industry and able to stand on our own 2 feet as a managing director to bring the team along with me. But in the early days, it's more
about the challenges, I guess, within the industry inherent of the client base. So typically, what have those been before the formation of D7?
Well, I suppose it's been an economic roller coaster. So a shortage of candidates. When the economic downturn came, I suppose post-COVID, people didn't want to move, which meant that there was less candidates on the market, which meant that due to that, clients weren't able to do their own internal recruitment function because they never necessarily had the skill set or the function to go out there and do the headhunting part of the recruitment, which is what we very much do, trying to find the right person to the right organisation and make that partnership and that pairing is really, really important for us. But when the candidate market went quiet, your HR recruiters, if you like, that are not necessarily bespoke recruitment like us health and safety recruiters, it's all we do within construction, they struggled, which kind of left that gap in the market for an expert to go in and find them people. So it was harder to find the candidates, but it meant that there was more work out there for us due to the fact that it was hard to do internally.
So you said that your client base started with construction and then has added some associated markets or manufacturing and is moving in that. So what's your ideal client within those markets at the moment, and what would that look like, let's say, rolling forward a couple of years' time?
So for us, it's not about the size of the client. We've got large global organizations on our books, and we've also got independents. So for us, it's about the interaction and the buy-in of the client. If that client's a small business but believes that we are the right fit for them and uses them as an add-on of their organization with the ability to give us honest feedback on candidates in a timely manner, to pay on time with realistic payment terms, and then really bring us into their organization, that's what we're looking for in a client. If you're a large blue chip organization but are not engaged with our recruitment process, and we are just one of many, then that's not an attractive client. So it's more about the relationship that we're looking for, and the partnership, rather than the name and the brand of the client. We've got clients now in manufacturing, civil engineering, aviation, a full spectrum from entry-level jobs all the way through to head of jobs. But the most important thing for us is that client relationship and being part of that value team, rather than just a recruiter that can be used, abused, picked up, as and when. That we won't operate with clients or organizations in that manner.
Uh-huh. And the positions that you're actually doing within health and safety, are these what I would class as transactional positions where people are actually doing that, or are you working with organizations that provide health and safety, and then within that you do a whole recruitment solution for any position a business of that kind might need?
Absolutely. So we are very much, if you needed somebody at short notice on a construction site in Central Europe, we could find that sole trader, that limited company, to deliver that function for you, on a short-term contract, or if you wanted to grow your organization, look at a health and safety structure within your organization and implement some sort of standard. We also have the ability to find you that person over a long time in a permanent position. So the full spectrum of safety professionals, no matter where that safety professional sits within their career or what that client needs, we have the ability to cover that full spectrum and have the network in order to deliver that at pace also.
And what's your sort of market split between the temporary or sort of contract-based positions and the permanent positions?
So we're opening the perm market at the moment. When we first started, it was very much about understanding the industry, understanding the profession, and the safer option was the perm. From a business point of view, a lot of our clients are wanting the temporary market, which is what we're doing now. We have placed people into temporary contracts through D7. But the client that we mentioned at the start, which was our first client, we've placed 40 contractors with them since January, but it's set up in a different way. It's more on a exclusive type finder's fee, rather than actually employed through D7. So we are opening up the temp market now, just because our clients are asking us to, and it is the right thing to. But I think it's important that you do, to not run before you can walk. So the safer option is to understand the industry, understand the profession, understand the permanent market, and then once you've done that, you can then build the temporary desk therefore after, rather than chasing the money early and potentially getting a bad reputation early within business.
And again, we said that it started with health and safety. Have you expanded it into any associated positions as well, so inclusive of environmental, or has that always been part of anything health and safety, I guess?
Yeah, so a lot of the bigger roles within health and safety, the senior roles within health and safety, have now put the quality and environment on the end. But I think there's a difference between a health and safety, quality and environment professional to an out-and-out quality and an out-and-out environmental professional, and the qualifications are very different. So we have placed environmental professionals solely, but like I said, it's a difference between a lot of the environmental people that we've placed have gone away and got an MSc, BSc, environmental management, etc. So we do place them. It's normally once we've built that relationship with the client and they come to us and ask us for that. Our network is still strong within that area, but ultimately, I think an out-and-out environmental person is a different breed and different qualification with a completely different educational background than your typical safety professional.
No, and as I say, different organisations will combine aspects of it, and that's a very different thing, as you said, from a full-blown quality leader or a environmental consultant or something like that. It's almost sort of chalk and cheese, I guess. So the market's expanded. You've gone from just one industry, or that one industry being the main focal point. You've added some others. So what's next for yourselves? Where do you go next with this?
So, well, twofold really. We need to grow the business to make sure that, and we need to be bigger to deliver more. So we need to go down the non-fee earning route. So, you know, strength in depth rather than the MD still delivering. So we need to get the MD out, and we need to look at how we're operating, which is the next 3 months, which if you like short term, which is what we're doing at the moment. We need to add something else to the business as well, so that we're not just one-dimensional with recruitment. What that looks like, we're in discussions at the moment, whether that's a CV writing service and a LinkedIn, delivering LinkedIn profiles to marry up with CVs, etc. That's an option. Whether that's marketing, that's an option. But I think that as a business, we need to have an add-on, so that should the recruitment industry go cold, as a business and a standalone organization, we still have fingers in other pies, for want of a better expression, to make sure that we are a diverse organization. So there's talks going on at the moment about that also. But ultimately what we need to do is we need to do what we're doing now on a bigger level. And in order to do that, we need to grow, and we need to make some very savvy and sound business investments within the back office of D7, which I think is a big deal for a new business, because you want everybody fee earning, because, you know, everybody's overhead is covered by a tangible margin measurements. Whereas I suppose once you then go into that non-fee earning back office type organization, then there's a little bit more pressure on the deliverables. So that's the next thing, is to grow.
It is, and we see this often, where the fundamental of consistent delivery stems from all the things that add value without them being front end fee earner or whatever. So as you transition, as you grow as a business, it becomes inevitable that you need these additional functions. Otherwise, it's just an amalgamation of transactions. And I really, really like the view on a recruitment business having completely unique revenue streams or opportunities to create those, rather than just, well, we just got to place people. So I think that is a very positive thing, and certainly differentiates you. In terms of other sort of differentiators then, it's easy to look at it and say, well, we're uniquely different because of us. We're what makes it different. But most people can say that. So what truly makes you different? What makes you stand out? And what do you promote as a business as your differentiator for the market?
So two things. Our military network, we place an awful lot of service leavers, and we place an awful lot of ex-service people. There's not many recruitment companies out there that have that network. We've got a fantastic network within that. So that's standout. That's standout. And there's a moral component there as well. So we place ex-forces people into industry at a very, very favourable rate, because morally that's just the right thing to do. My senior recruiter is ex-forces. We worked together for 13 years in the forces together. So that is tangible standout. And then we then have to get people to buy into our vision, and our vision is different, and we do stand by our vision, and we live by our vision. But you're right, anybody can say what our vision is. We are client focused. The client pays the bill. If we can get the client to believe in that we are, and the reason why we are client focused is because the people that helped found D7 come from an organization that had a very dim view on recruitment. So because of that, we've been set on firm foundations. But absolutely right, any recruitment company can say that, but there's not many recruitment companies that have got two people at the helm of it that have got over 25 years service apiece in the forces, 23 years, and Rich 25 years service in the forces, based on our values, our standards. So that kind of helps us get that honest approach over the line, because it's backed up by a different industry altogether. But ultimately, if you were to go and say, what is your standalone thing which makes you different? It's our military network balanced against our network with health and safety professionals that aren't in the military. That's our key standout.
Out of interest, and this isn't, answer it, think about it, whatever with this sort of question. Is that how you market your business on this differentiator, or is this just something that, when thinking about it, that is unique, and it truly is unique?
But
are you promoting that to future clients and saying, this is who we are and what we stand for?
Yeah, so on our one pager that we've had recently produced, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, it's very much, it does concentrate on our ethos, our values, our standards, our military sort of upbringing, and what we're bringing from the military into the recruitment world on our messaging campaigns, our email campaigns. It's very up there and up front. That said, we're not naive to think that every person that we're going to put into industry is going to be ex-forces.
Yeah.
So we've got to have that down the moral component line, as well as we've got to back that up financially by giving a discount to industry for placing ex-forces. But we'd be very naive to think that that was our sole market. So sometimes the messaging on it is subliminal, it's in the background. And sometimes people say to us, we'd like you to place an ex-forces person, which we've got a great case study of within a week, finding somebody who's done 23 years in the Navy, and placed him just through our military network. Got something like 20,000 impressions on LinkedIn within a week, and we found this person and placed it. But yes, it's not we can't brand our full business around it, but it will help gain credibility, and it'll help gain trust, and it'll help stand us apart from the person that's just saying that they are credible, honest, client focused. We don't tell lies, but we can back it up in different ways. We do lots of stuff that other recruitment companies don't do. We've banned from doing, to make sure we are different. We never send a speculative CV ever. We'd never send anybody's details forward without them knowing. Even if we've got someone in our books and we spoke to him yesterday about a role, if a new role came in today that was perfect for them, we would phone them up and requalify them against that role and ask them for their CV to go forward. Ask them whether they're prepared to go for a interview, which means that when our clients are getting safety professionals forward, they've had a 45-minute pre-screen, they know the client's name, they're in the right salary bracket, they're in the right geographical location, they've got the industry experience. In effect, we're sending 2 free CVs for a role rather than 10, which means that hiring manager doesn't have to read 10 CVs, because what's that he or she paid for? They've just paid for a CV library. We're not that. We're professionals, and we deliver professional people within spec. But you can only do that by getting in with the company and proving yourself. That's the hardships, and we know we're doing this, and we've got some great clients that'll back us up to say that we're delivering this function. But ultimately, it's just a sales pitch. No numbers on sales pitches. Don't ever speak about numbers as in 10 CVs equal X amount of interviews equal this. None of that. It's about relationships rather than about stats.
I think what you were saying about the forces, promoting it as uniquely as forces, isn't the right thing. Using what you've learned from the forces and that as your demonstrable behaviors, I guess, your values that you can actually bring to the market. There's a great definition of success, which is a few simple disciplines practice well every day. And what you get from the military is lots of disciplines that you practice well every single day, and that leads to success. And I think marketing that, as opposed to that it came exclusively from the military, it's what the military gave you that you can then give back to the market, I guess, is a good way of looking at it. So That's actually bringing us towards the end of the interview. There's some really interesting things that you're saying there, Darren, and in terms of where you've come from, why you were formed in the first place, which was to overcome people's frustrations in the market. And on those grounds, I see it being a very successful future for you. You've also clearly got different values to some in an industry that perhaps doesn't have the best reputation, is very transactional, and it's all about the fee, which you've demonstrated isn't how you're running the business in the first place, or what you set out to do. So that's absolutely fantastic. Are there any areas that we've not covered, or have we put out a good generalized overview of where you are, where you're heading, and what the future is starting to look like?
I think we've got across what I want to get across, which is a very honest, client-focused recruitment solution that wants to build relationships and be part of an organization. Would be kind of not a strapline, but that's what I'm looking for when we go to try and win work. And also as well is that for a small business to turn down work, I think is very commendable as well, if it's not the right job for us and they're not the right client, because they're not going to treat us with the respect that we deserve because they've been burnt by the recruitment industry as a whole, then that's fine. Also, we'll walk away from work as well, because it's got to be right for all parties in order to deliver success.
Learned helplessness is a difficult thing to overcome with some people. If they've had a bad experience, their assumption is that's what I'm going to get in the future, and that's very difficult to change. But step by step, little by little, with your reputation, with the work that you're doing, you will overcome that, and then find more people want to and choose to work with you. And it will be congruent with your values, which is a great way of doing it. So that does bring us actually to the end of the interview. Said at the start, obviously, if you're watching this and wanting to record your own, we'll put contact details of how to get in touch, how to get yourself booked in, and everything like that. But a really big thank you to Darren for sharing. There's as I say, it is a unique journey. How you got to where you are. You've taken the opportunities presented with people in certain industries, and in the last couple of years, by the sound of it, you've made fantastic forward steps in terms of delivering what you truly believe should be delivered, rather than just a commercial fee earning kind of business and everything. So really do thank you for joining us today and sharing that. So all that remains to be said is thank you again to everyone who's watching this. We do share these across the UK, but also internationally as well. And we'll put details of how you can see the full video snippets, everything like that. So if you've enjoyed this, want to do it, get in touch. If not, keep watching. And you've been watching another of our Business Spotlight interviews. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Thank you.